Well, good afternoon, guys. Another video. Might have to make it short because Mother Nature may not agree with me and my plans for today. So, what's on today's topic? Dreams. Well, the topic is still fresh on my mind. I'd like to talk about that. In particular, I've been having, as of recent, recurring dreams. One such recurring theme uh, and I'll give context of it by explaining the dreams I've had. But one recurring theme I've had is dreams about when I was still in, really in a university setting, when I was still in school. And to give an explanation of my dream that I've been having that's been recurring, um, today when I woke up, and I want to say 3-4 days ago, I'd have to check because I keep a dream journal, but I've been having a recurring dream where the setting is in my university I used to go to, and I was in a class that had to do with writing papers, like English type papers, essays, research papers. Now, to clarify, in university, well, the university that I was in when I was getting my bachelor's, I didn't have per se like an English type class. Of course, I still had to write papers for some of the more theoretical classes. Like, to give an example, like one class I had on international business, and for most of these classes, I'd have to write papers on like certain topics, like trade between one nation or another, blah blah blah. Point is, it would be pretty straightforward if you paid attention in class and paid attention to the professor and read the material. But in my dreams, it was more along the lines of stuff I'd be doing when I was in high school, which is like, oh, read this book and then write a paper about the book or your opinion on the book or stuff like that. And a recurring theme about that was I've always, in the dreams, I apparently would be putting off doing the paper. And in the first dream I had of that, it was me coming back from school, well, from university, really, and in my head, remembering a conversation I had with the professor, where like, oh, hey, the papers due pretty soon. In the dream, the time frame was, I think, within a week, and so I remember distinctly feeling a sense of dread, of anxiety and panic, because I was post being procrastinating, really doing the paper. And the second dream that I had yesterday, well, when I woke up today, followed along that same line, except this time it wasn't about an English type class. It followed more in line with the university setting, university. And this time it was, I think the dream was making me remember some stress I had when I was still in university in regards to one class I was in. I forget the class, but it was business related. And I remember feeling a bit anxious about it because, if I recall correctly, the paper was sort of done in a group. It was like a group work type thing. It was, if I remember right, it was like 20 pages long, not including the cover page or the works cited and all that stuff. And it was mostly based on material on the book that we were supposed to have for the class and the material we covered in class. But the topic, if I remember right, was one of the professors choosing, but like you had like a list. Cheers, by the way. And I remember feeling anxious about that because how I am as a person, I don't like working as a group for certain things. And in my experience, that I had while I was in university, um, I just didn't have good experiences dealing with my classmates who were significantly younger than me. On average, I and like a handful of other people would be the oldest in the class, save for maybe the one or two outliers, like a retired veteran or someone who's in their, I guess, middle age, trying to, get some post-secondary education or whatever. But for the most part, I was older than most of my classmates by at least 5-6 years. So that should give you a general idea of how old I am. And in the dream, I remember it was very similar to that specific class I was dreaming about. To give some context, in the end, I managed to convince the professor that, hey, I'm willing to do this project, this paper, all 20 pages by myself, because I don't like my grade being held hostage, so to speak, by the efforts of, the other group members. I believe the group total was like 5, including myself, so we each had to do 5, 10, 15, 20. Oh no, 5, not including myself, so there were 6. So more or less everyone did 4 to 5 pages. But I remember telling the professor, like, hey, I don't really, feel like doing this thing in a group setting. Can I just do the paper by myself? And the professor said, well, it's going to be a lot of work. And I said, yeah, I don't care. I'll do it by myself gladly. And he said, all right, do it. And so I did. Got an A on that. Did it suck? Yeah, but at least I could work at it on my own pace. Going back on topic. Someone's working on their house. That feeling of anxiety that I had persisted into when I woke up shortly after, on both occasions. And I've had other dreams that I'll touch on when later on in this video. But I wanted to make a video about dreams because it got me thinking, like, they say that we dream about things that are important to us or that have been on our mind, I guess ruminating, whether or not we're consciously thinking about it or not. And for me that is true because for the longest time, like, this might sound ironic, but I don't like school. You might ask, okay, so why'd you go to school if you don't like it? Well, I have my personal reasons, but to not get too into it, but to give you guys an I hope a acceptable explanation is, let's call it insurance for myself for the far future. Am I using my degree right now? No. Do I plan to? Yes. But like I said, I don't want to go in too much into that because that's not the topic of the video today. But I've never been one who really liked school that much. So, when I got done with school, it was like a great weight was lifted off my shoulders. And, dreams are a very real thing to us when we're experiencing them. And depending on how you are as a person, you might snap out of it the moment you wake up and be like, oh, that was just a dream. Time to get on with my day. Me, depending on the type of dream, the content of it, that feeling can persist and kind of bug me, or I guess not bother me, well after the fact that I've woke up. Cheers. So, I found it not surprising, but interesting that as of recent, I've been having two, I don't want to say back to back, but very, recent between each other, dreams regarding school. And to put it in context, I've been done with school since November of last year. Technically, uh, I want to say I was really done with it around October. If I remember right, that's when I took my finals, and this is back in the prime of COVID and online classes. But I think the semester more or less ended officially around the November-December mark. But I remember for a fact having stopped going to school around the November mark. But as far as schoolwork and all that stuff and finals, I think October was the date. Point being, it's interesting that I'd have a dream about school because after November, I have not had any reason to think about school. I have not visited my old university for any reason. I don't have a reason to. In reality, as I am as a person, I don't really like school. I never really did. Throughout middle school, high school, growing up, but that's a topic for a different day. Suffice to say, I have my reasons. I think really I may have even alluded to it in the previous video where I've said, I'm not really an extrovert. I'm more of an introvert, and I guess to touch on that very briefly, for most of my life I've been a introvert trying to be an extrovert, false appearances type stuff. But you can only really fool yourself for so long before it takes a, toll on you. But that's beside the point. So what I wanted to talk about with dreams is, I think the brain is a very fickle thing. Oh, I just felt a raindrop. I think the brain is a very fickle thing in that it can make you dream about the most, not random subjects, but the most, I guess, random things that you haven't really been paying any mind to for a long time. And, it'll say, hey, remember this one thing? Here's a dream about it. Enjoy. One other recurring dream I've been having as of late is old jobs I used to work at. Now, for this, I gotta, reach back a bit. I used to work at a pet store. Won't say which, but I used to work at a pet chain, retail store. And, like most retail jobs, it's pretty straightforward. No, let's top that off. Thank you for the bottle. Like most retail jobs, it's pretty straightforward. It's customer centered, customer service centric, with slight variations, between all the retail jobs. But for the one I had, it was, your typical cashier / customer service type deal. And then the recurring dreams I've had about this particular job, one of them was sort of like a reenactment of a less than pleasurable day / moment I had with one of my coworkers. It was when I was working the cashier and there was a long line, and the dream for the most part kind of played out the same as it did in real life. But to give context, what happened in real life was I was in the, minding my business in the cashier, and this one coworker of mine who's gay decided to tickle me, lay his hands on me, like on my stomach area, and tickle me while I was, servicing a customer. And one big thing about me is even if I know you as a coworker, like, I don't like people to touch me. I'm very, adamant on that. I'll flip out on you. That goes back to my anger issues I have, but I've never liked people laying their hands on me if it's not someone I guess I'm friends with or bros with, or if you're my family. But yeah, so that took me completely off surprise. I dropped what I was doing and I said, "Don't fucking touch me." And going back on the last video and what I said, you know, my tongue moves fast, way quicker than my mouth. Of course, you know, with how G-rated, for lack of a better term, most customers were in the area I worked at, they were like, "Oh my god." Not totally ignoring the fact I got inappropriately touched. They were more offended at the fact that I dropped an F-bomb. You know, weird priorities. But luckily my manager was there. She saw what was going on. She's like, "All right, let's have a talk." And I was like, "Yeah, just tell him to not fucking touch me," because I'm big on not being touched. After that, me and gay coworker kept our distance. I don't have anything against him, not even for the fact that he's gay. I just don't like people fucking touching me. And in my dream, it played out more or less the same, except the only slight deviation is I laid my hands on him in a physical way, like, you know, push him, punch him type shit. And I guess that is because, you know, they say dreams are a reflection of what's going on in your mind, desires left unfulfilled. I guess that's my brain saying, like, I wish we would have fucking could have clobbered that dude in. Though, if that were to happen, you know, for one, there's no way in hell that's defensible, you know, like, are you nuts? Someone tickles you and you decide to punch the shit out of them. But yeah, that's not saying I wanted to, but I had to control my reaction, and I'm glad, you know, my reaction was to drop an F-bomb as opposed to lay hands on him. But in my dream, you know, I pummeled the dude. So maybe that's like a subconscious desire left unfulfilled. I'm not sure, but I found it interesting. The second thing is oh, raindrops. The second thing is there was this other incident where I was cleaning the pet cages, yeah, of the rodents, and one of them almost bit me. And I remember, well, in real life, what happened was when they almost bit me, I just took my hand out real quick and I put on these, they're not latex gloves, they're kind of like, it's like gloves made out of cloth, they're thick. I don't know what to call them, but they're gloves, you know, and they were thick enough to where even if the little rodents did try to bite you, they couldn't get through. But in the dream, the little shit did manage to bite me, and he stuck me pretty good. I've been bitten before by pet hamsters I've used to have, and man, they really get you, and you have to make a conscious effort to not, you know, swing your finger around and, you know, throw them against the wall or whatever. Not even really wanting to, but it's like, you know, an automatic reaction. When, you know, something bites you, you want to move your hand a lot to get the thing to stop biting and get rid of it. Oh, cool butterfly. But in the dream, he stuck me pretty good, and you know how dreams are weird. I didn't stop bleeding. And I'm not a squeamish guy. I'm not squeamish when it comes to blood. I've seen a lot of fucked up shit, but I don't know why in the dream it got me all feeling all sorts of weird. And when I woke up, oddly enough, the tip of my finger that I was bit in the dream hurt. Didn't have any bite mark, not that I was biting my fingers in my sleep or whatever, but it hurt, like an acute pain as if I was bit. Don't know how to explain that one. And to segue into that, cheers, the last one. To segue into that, there has been this phenomenon I've been having as of late where, for example, 4 nights ago, I forget the context of the dream, but I remember my right shoulder hurt. where it hurt like, you know, when you get like a vaccine or a shot and they put it in one of your shoulders, right? And depending of whether you get a nice little nurse or whatever, they put in the needle nice, or they just jam the fucker in. Well, I don't even remember the dream, but I do remember that my shoulder hurt, like it ached, as if I had got a shot. In the dream, though, I do not video cut out. I do know for a fact that in the dream I didn't get a shot. But oddest thing in the world, when I woke up, my shoulder was hurting. How do you explain that? Oddest thing. Let me know in the comments if you guys, you know, have had vivid dreams. If you guys keep a dream journal. I keep a dream journal because, well, I have a lot of free. Having a lot of free time is not something I say I have, but I choose to give myself free time, so I'm not, you know, all work and no play makes me a very dull boy. But with my free time, I like to do stuff like these, you know, record these videos or keep a dream journal, stuff like that. And at least for the dream journal part, I like to, every now and then I like to go back and read what I've wrote, and it's amazing how just writing down the dream is in best as detail as I can. Sometimes as soon as I wake up, I go straight for my dream journal, try to find a pen and, you know, start writing down. Other times, if I'm feeling too lazy, I just, you know, grab my phone and get on the notes app and, you know, start typing down as in detail as I can the dream I had, and then, you know, I'll transcribe it into my dream journal later. Do you guys do stuff like that? What do you guys views on those kinds of dreams? One other topic I wanted to segue into is sleep paralysis. Now, I haven't had a sleep paralysis episode in a minute, or a long time, for those of you who aren't up to date with the jargon, but I haven't had a sleep paralysis dream in quite a while. And the last time I had it was actually, I want to say it was January or February? Yeah. So, I mean, in the grand scale of things, it was not that long ago, but, you know, it's mid-April now, going on May. So it has been quite a while, truthfully. But I haven't had a sleep paralysis episode in a while, and I used to get them a lot. A lot meaning, like, I want to say at least once a month. And that's kind of shit, man. That puts the fear of God in you. Because, you know, sleep paralysis is really like you are awake, right? You can see, smell, hear, but your body is not awake. So it feels like you're kind of like being held down, you're stuck. And it's in that weird state, if I recall correctly, where your brain's sort of like in a like in that lucid area, and so the imagination runs wild. I remember one time I woke up during a lucid dream. This was the one in January, February I was just talking about, and it was in the dead of night, 4 a.m, and I was like face up, and I remember feeling like this chill go starting from my neck, go all the way down to my spine, ice cold. And I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this, but if anything in your life has ever scared you, like to your core, to where like the hairs stand up on your arms and legs and you get the goosebumps, and, you know, you're like, the fear of God, you know, is really put into you. That's how I felt. And I could feel this evil presence just out of the corner of my eyes, like To give a description, like if I'm laying down like this, right? So if this is my body face up like that, on this end where the cigarette's being lit, that's my TV. So I was facing my TV, and in the corner of my eyes here would be the door. I saw two blood red eyes, and it was sort of like a formless, like ghosty, smoky kind of shape. And all it did was go from the door frame, go across my TV, sit in the chair where my computer desk is, sit, and I use that liberally because it just lowered in elevation, but it sat there, and then it would just go from there, sit in front of my TV, go to the door frame, alternate between that. And I couldn't take my eyes off it. I was afraid to because I'm like, well, what's this thing gonna do to me? Even though logically I know it's not real, but when you're in the moment, you're experiencing that, it's very hard to convince yourself of that, because you're experiencing it, you're seeing it. How can it not be real? But it's just your mind playing tricks on you. A trick I learned about that is you have to devote all your mental effort into moving one limb of yours. For me, that was trying to move my thumb. And if you've ever had sleep paralysis, you know how hard that is to do, to command yourself to move, because you can't scream, you can't yell. You're yelling in your head, you're thinking at 1,000 miles per hour in your head, but as far as your physical body is concerned, it's still asleep. So with what felt like a gargantuan effort, I finally willed myself to wiggle my hands, wiggle my thumb, and then my thumb moved into the other fingers, and then that sort of snapped me out of it. And when I snapped out of it, I immediately, launched myself up. I had I don't know if it's the right term to use as a cold sweat, but, I felt cold on my skin, though I wasn't sweating. And I didn't have the fan on, so I don't know really how to explain that, but I felt cold. Needless to say, I didn't sleep that night. It was 4 a.m. The sun was about to rise at around the 5:36 a.m. mark. I stayed awake until I could see the sun, and then I fell asleep again. But yeah, sleep paralysis is a motherfucker. Put it in the comments if you ever had sleep paralysis. What was your experience like? And on that note, I think I'll cut off this video here. I didn't really have much to talk about dreams, though I wanted to get this video out because, while the topic is still fresh in my head, I wanted to give my 2 cents about it. So yeah, look forward to the next video. Thanks to all you guys who are watching, who watch my videos consistently, inconsistently, whatever. You guys should know that I do this more for myself than, to be a YouTube channel, YouTube star or whatever. So yeah, have a good rest of your afternoon, night, morning. Thanks for watching.